Hello, my name is Debbie Chulick. I'm one of the dementia educators at Alzheimer's Resource of Alaska. This is a two-part series in connection with Hospice of Homer and Alzheimer's Resource of Alaska about dementia and the holidays. Last month, we talked about some specific gift-giving ideas. We talked about some communication tips for living with someone with dementia. This month, we're talking about some activities that you might consider doing with someone living with dementia. We're also going to talk about some rituals this time of year that you might consider. I want to start by talking about three important concepts, three important things to remember. When we talk about planning activities, we certainly want to be aware of safety issues. We also want to be aware of flexibility. And finally, we want to be aware of reality. Safety, of course, is a huge component to remember when we're dealing with someone who's experiencing any kind of dementia. They may not have the wherewithal to think through different safety situations, and that's where we come in. When we talk about flexibility, it's important to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and maybe come back to plan A. And finally, when we talk about reality, I did a little drawing here, and I want to give you a visual picture of what this is like. Reality is the horizontal line. This is reality. We cannot change reality. However, the further that our expectations move away from reality is the amount of increased frustration we might feel. So again, this is reality. We cannot change reality. If my expectations are here, I'm going to have this much potential frustration. If my expectations are way up here, I'm going to have a lot more frustration. I cannot change reality, but I can lower my expectations to be closer to reality and thus hopefully experience less frustration. So again, just a little visual. This is reality. We cannot change reality. My level of frustration can go up or down depending on where my expectations are. Something important to keep in mind as we remember the holidays can be stressful for all of us. Even those of us with a fully functioning brain, the holidays can be stressful. So if we can learn to adjust our expectations to be closer to reality, hopefully we'll have less frustration. So I want to start today by just giving some general guidelines about how to keep the happy in happy holidays. We hear things on the radio, we listen to music. It's the most wonderful time of year. There's all these different things going on. But the truth of the matter is, the holidays can also be a time of stress and anxiety, even a time of sadness. We have to allow ourselves the reality that sometimes we will experience a wide variety, a wide range of emotions, and that's okay. So these are just some general guidelines about how we might keep the happy in happy holidays. We want to start by being open with family and friends. This is a time for connection. It's a time for family. It's a time for friends. But a lot of times that comes with fears and it comes with anxiety and stress. How am I going to get everything done? What do I have to do to clean the house? What if I don't get the cookies baked in time? We want to be open with our family and friends if they're not aware of our situation, to let them know that, hey, things are a little bit different this year. We also want to remember to celebrate in small doses. It's kind of ironic when we think about Christmas or holiday time, in that one of the suggestions, one of the guidelines is people living with dementia like routine. They like consistency. And here we are at the holiday time where everything is different. There's flashing lights, there's music, there's sounds, there's different experiences. It's sometimes hard to maintain that level of consistency when so many things are changing. So, one suggestion is to learn to celebrate in small doses. Still invite your loved ones, your friends over, just maybe not invite everybody over all in one day. Maybe spread it out over a period of 2 or 3 weeks, even. Why not? The other thing, when we talk about celebrate in small doses, there are going to be changes in the routine, changes in the noise level, changes in crowds. Those can sometimes cause increased confusion for people that are living with dementia. The next thing we want to think about is bring the celebration to the person. If it's becoming difficult for you to get out and about with your loved one who may be experiencing dementia, think about bringing the party or the celebration to them. When we talk about visitors, again, it doesn't have to be one certain day. It can be spread over a period of time. And then finally, when we're talking about keeping the happy in the happy holidays, think about ways to unlock memories and put a twist on tradition. So, for example, if, let's say, your mother has dementia, maybe she was always the queen of the cookies. She always made cookies, and that was her thing. Just because she's living with dementia doesn't mean that has to go away. It might just mean it needs to be adjusted a little bit. Maybe somebody else, she can assign someone else to be the princess of the cookies. So you're continuing the tradition and yet still encouraging more and new involvement. Finally, this is something for family caregivers. Really try to give yourself the gift of support. Reach out to other people during this time. If you're a family member of someone who's experiencing any kind of dementia, reach out for support. See if there's something that you can do to get yourself some additional connection and some additional support during this time of year. Whether that's seeing if you can get away for a cup of hot cocoa or a cup of tea, seeing if you can call someone on the phone when you're starting to feel stressed. Whatever it might be, give yourself the gift of support. So before we go any further about any specific holiday ideas, I just want to give a brief overview about what is dementia so that we're on the same page. When we talk about dementia, I kind of think of it like an umbrella. Dementia itself is the word dementia. If someone has dementia, dementia is not a disease. Dementia is a collection of symptoms. These symptoms include troubles with word finding, repeating the same story over and over, feeling confused about time or place, feeling confused about activities of daily living. Dementia might also include difficulties with driving, difficulties with managing money, difficulties with personal care. So if someone goes to the doctor or a nurse practitioner and says, gosh, I'm experiencing these symptoms, think of an umbrella, these symptoms of confusion, repeating myself, forgetting where things are, having trouble with money, having trouble with word finding, whatever the symptoms might be, the doctor or nurse practitioner might say, that sounds like dementia. Now, again, dementia is a collection of symptoms. What I think in my mind when I hear the word dementia is what is causing that collection of symptoms. Meaning, is it an actual disease of the brain like Alzheimer's, Lewy body, vascular dementia, frontal temporal dementia? Or is there some other reason that might be causing those collection of symptoms? For example, depression. If someone or other mental health condition, if someone is experiencing depression, they absolutely may have trouble with word finding. They may have trouble remembering. They may feel confused. They may have trouble with self-care or repeating themselves, trouble driving, trouble with money, etc. But depression is very treatable. Once the symptoms of depression are treated, sometimes the symptoms of dementia will reverse. Same thing with something as simple as a urinary tract infection or other infection in the body. If someone has something as treatable as a urinary tract infection, they absolutely may have trouble with word finding. They may be confused. They may have trouble managing their medications or managing their money. They may repeat themselves, and that may look like dementia. But again, a urinary tract infection is very treatable. Once that urinary tract infection is treated, those symptoms of dementia will go away. So we certainly could talk a long time about dementia versus Alzheimer's or related dementias, but just wanted to get us on the same page that dementia is a collection of symptoms. When I hear that someone has dementia, my first thought is, I wonder what's causing that dementia. Is it a disease of the brain, or is there something else going on? Thyroid problems, alcohol problems. They might have some sort of genetic factor. They might have undiagnosed diabetes or cancer that's causing this collection of confusion and difficulty. If you have questions about dementia or what that is, what that looks like, I invite you to reach out to Alzheimer's Resource of Alaska at www.alzalaska.org, or you can call us. Our local number is 907-561-3313. So let's get back to our holiday planning. When we talk about planning for the holidays, some activities that you might consider. I would like to invite you, first of all, to think about what you enjoy doing. If there's something that you enjoy doing, more likely than not, your loved one will enjoy doing that with you or watching you do it as well. So today we're going to talk about some different ideas about dementia and the holidays, some things you might think about, and then we'll talk about some ritual. We'll talk about some things you might consider doing with your loved one. When we talk about the holiday season, think about some words or feelings that come to your mind. There might be a sense of excitement. There's a sense of responsibility. There's a sense of to-do, a big to-do list. There's a sense of travel sometimes. There's a sense of groups of people, food, cleaning, all kinds of things. The feelings that we experience this time of year run the whole gamut from absolutely, I'm thrilled and excited, I'm so happy, to I am completely exhausted and overwhelmed, and everything in between, right? So when we talk about Is it really a happy holiday? We certainly can make it that way if we remember certain things to keep in mind, such as slowing down, realistic expectations, adjusting our expectations, safety issues, and flexibility. When we talk about the feelings that we experience during the holidays, absolutely someone who's living with dementia might experience those same feelings as well. So, some of the things that you might think about for the holidays include keeping a routine as much as possible, giving your loved one who might be experiencing any kind of dementia choice. Include them in the process as much as possible. If it does not increase their stress level, then include them in the planning. Include them in the desire to be involved in holiday events. We all have emotional needs to feel calm, safe, secure, relatively in control, and reassured. Even people with dementia have those emotional needs. We cannot change the disease or the effects of dementia. So therefore, we have to change ourselves and or the environment. Alzheimer's or related dementia changes everything. There may no longer be whole days of joy. I want to offer the possibility of moments of joy. Last month, we talked about some of those gift giving ideas. Think about some really practical gift giving ideas. Just as a summary, some of the things we talked about include fruit or a fruit basket, a photo album, a collage, picture books, meals. Think about tickets to an event. Think about a lap quilt or giving the person a massage or a manicure or pedicure, hand massage, cleaning services. We want to remember the person's preferences and the person's interests in gift giving, but there's tons of things to think about. Music boxes, shawls, slippers, stuffed animals, a pillow, a stuffed doll, some hand or body lotion, nature books, a religious item, a cross, or some sort of Bible that they might enjoy, or other religious item, a picture frame. And also remember the gifts of time, hugs, and tenderness. One of the experiences of taking them for a drive and getting a cup of hot chocolate at a drive-through or something that they enjoy. So today I want to talk about, so that's a little summary from last month that we talked a little bit about. Today I want to talk about some specific activities that you might do with a person living with dementia. First of all, save the fronts of your Christmas cards and your old calendars. I am a firm believer in recycling those old Christmas cards as much as possible. The fronts of Christmas cards can be used to decorate doors in the hallway, putting some pictures around the bathroom mirror. Also, you can use those to, if you have some cardstock, you can put some of the fronts of Christmas cards on cardstock and make some good old-fashioned placemats. We can cover those with clear contact paper and have a lovely remembrance for Christmas Day. They're also really nice to point to. People can interact with those. They can experience those. If you keep a stack of them free or open, people can look at those pictures and tell stories. I love old Christmas cards. Lots of different things you can do with those. Also, old calendar pictures. Old calendar pictures are many times beautiful, very, very well done. those can be used to create some stories or some memories. It can be used to reminisce. They might say, oh, I was here, I was there, or oh, look at that. When we're working with someone who's living with dementia, we do not have to, what we call, orient them to reality. Meaning, if they look at an old calendar picture or the front of an old Christmas card and they say, oh, look, that's me, or I was there, or I took that picture, we don't have to tell them, no, 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 you didn't. Somebody else took that picture. We can meet them where they are. There used to be a push in working with someone with dementia in what was called reality orientation. And that was a, a process of trying to orient someone to reality, just what it sounds like, reality orientation. It has been proven time and time again that reality orientation does not work with someone who's living with dementia. What we offer now, what we do now, is called person-centered care. Person-centered care means meeting the person where they are. We do not have to change their perception of reality. We do not have to orient them to make sure that everything they're saying is 100% historically accurately correct. We can meet them where they are and have that be enough. So if they say, oh, I cut down my own Christmas tree and I raised Christmas trees, or I'm Santa Claus, or whatever it is they might say, go along with them. Oh gosh, that's really cool. That must have been a cool experience. Or you must have all the inside stories about how the toys are made, or whatever it might be. It's about connection. It's not about reality. If their brain is changing and they believe that you are their sister as compared to their daughter, there's no harm in that. If they look outside and say, oh, look, it's pouring cats and dogs when it's really snowing, we don't have to tell them, no, 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 it's not raining, it's snowing. See, the snow is white. I mean, if you want to try that, be willing to try anything, but don't be surprised if it adds to your stress and to their stress if you try to orient them to reality. Just go along with them, be with them in the moment, and have that be enough. The other thing when we talk about activities is we want to remember you have limits as well. You as the family caregiver, you as the friend, you as the support person, you are entitled to set limits. You don't have to live up to the expectations of families or friends. Your situation is different now. You're experiencing, or your loved one is experiencing, their brain changing. So just remember that it's okay for you to set your limits as well. The other thing we touched base about a few minutes ago, include your loved one or your friend in planning as much as possible. If they want to, let's say, decorate Christmas cookies, you can really make it simple. You don't have to make sugar cookies from scratch, roll out the dough, press all the ornaments and all the cutouts into the dough, bake the cookies, make the homemade frosting, tint it in all different shades. You can buy pre-made sugar cookies. It's really okay. You can buy pre-made frosting. It's really okay to do that. If you want to make the cookies, give it a try. Just remember that you have a right to set limits as well. And you have a right to self-care as well. The other thing when we talk about activities this time of year, there's lots of things to try. You might try activities with dolls, with stuffed animals. Now, remember, every person who's experiencing any kind of brain change is different. Not every person will want to experience or interact with a doll or stuffed animal. All of these ideas that we're coming up with, that we're sharing here, are just that. They're just ideas. It's hopefully to get you thinking about the possibilities, to get you expanding your vision of what is possible. But all of these ideas are however you want to use them, adjust them to meet your particular needs. Think about activities that we call tactile therapy activities. Maybe bring out a piece of felt or a piece of silk, or put a little, compile a stack of fabrics, fur or fake fur, that your loved one can interact with and play with and be with. Think about personal activities, personal care activities this time of year. Maybe you're, let's say, for example, your mom has always enjoyed wearing makeup, wearing earrings, getting her hair done. Maybe she's just not able to do that anymore. So the activity becomes a spa day. The activity becomes, let's get all gussied up, let's do our hair, bring out the hairspray, bring out the fingernail polish, and that becomes the activity. We can go slow, we can have a good time, we can enjoy the process, but why not? Or do a hand massage. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, get out their favorite lotion. Think about activities with cards and games. Again, you can do a lot of activities with the fronts of Christmas cards, but you can also use playing cards. Maybe you'll play Go Fish or match up the number. If your loved one is feeling bored or frustrated, or if they say, "You're treating me like a baby, I know how to do this, why are you," you just apologize and move on and go from there. It's easier to adjust the activity than not do anything at all. So, for example, again, if your loved one has enjoyed playing cards in the past, they might really enjoy playing cards, playing a round of Go Fish or a round of whatever they want to play. I encourage something called house rules, meaning if your loved one has enjoyed playing poker in the past, their brain starts changing and suddenly they're not able to play the way that they have in the past, go with house rules. House rules is whatever rules the person with dementia comes up with, just go along with it and have fun. It's not about who wins or loses. It's about connection. It's about the possibility of being together. It's about just enjoying each other's company. Think about games that have things to toss. Maybe you can toss some bean bags or toss some little stuffed animals. Think about some sort of jazzing up your repertoire, if you will, and bringing out some old hats or some big scarves and just having fun. Again, there's so many pressures this time of year to be involved with all the expectations of the holidays. Really reduce and lower those expectations. So here are some other activities you might consider doing at this time of year. Have a good old fashioned movie party. Invite people over, again in small numbers. Make some popcorn, watch a movie. There's lots of holiday movies that are very family friendly that you might consider. So a good old fashioned movie night. Have, like I mentioned, a spa day where you do your hair and makeup and do fingernails and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Think about activities with for other people or for other animals. For animals, you can make some pine cone peanut butter bird feeders. Now, this might get a little messy, but if it keeps your loved one engaged and involved, what's a little peanut butter and a little bird seed? Be prepared, schedule what you set up what you can ahead of time, put it on a paper plate, get a little plastic knife and put some peanut butter on there, roll it in some bird seed. Same thing with stringing popcorn. They have large needles at craft supply stores that are plastic that can thread through popcorn. We talked a few minutes ago about decorating sugar cookies. Keep it simple. If you want to decorate cookies or decorate cookies with your loved one, put some newspaper down on the table and just have a ball. Don't overstress yourself with having to make the frosting if that's stressful for you. Just buy pre-made frosting. Also, we want to think about photos and reminiscing this time of year. Really important to do some reminiscing work. And that kind of leads into some of the sadness that might occur this time of year. You might hear your loved one say, "Oh, I need my mom," or "I want to go home," or "Where is my husband?" or other things like that. Don't be afraid to meet someone where they are emotionally. Maybe it's an opportunity to sit with them, hold their hand, connect with them, let them know that you're there for them. We don't have to shy away from those deep feelings. A number of years ago, I worked in an assisted living. I worked in the activities department, and there was one man who would say every day, "My wife's coming today. Jan's coming to get me." Well, his wife had died several years earlier. If someone is really in that place where they believe their loved one is coming to get them, can you imagine how cruel that would be to say, "Oh no, I'll call him John. Oh no, John, your wife died a long time ago. She's not coming to get you." Can you imagine how scary that would feel? Now, there were other times when John would look me directly in the eye and he would say, "Did my wife die?" And at those times, I would put my hand on his shoulder or I would take his hand and I would say, "Yes, she did." He would cry a little bit, he would grieve a little bit. And then the next day, he'd be back to, "My wife is coming today. My wife's coming to get me today." And that to me was such a powerful example of meeting someone where they are. If someone makes a direct statement, "I want to go home. I need my mom. My wife is coming to get me." Meet them where they are. If they ask you a direct question, "Did my wife die?" I believe it's okay to be honest. So if someone makes a direct statement, "I'm waiting for my wife," or "I need to go home," meet them where they are and try to think about the emotional need underneath what they're saying. So you might offer something like, "Well, if your wife's coming, let's get you cleaned up and ready for the day." Or, "Tell me about your house. You say you want to go home. Is this the house that had the fence out in front next to the lilac bush? Is this the house that you lived on at the end of the street across from the school?" It doesn't actually have to be true statements. You're just trying to get a sense of what they might be wanting or needing. The other thing is think about the emotional need underneath saying something like that. So, for example, hopefully, most people, when they say they want to go home, it's because home has been a place of safety. Home has been a place of acceptance and of love and of compassion. Maybe what they're saying when they say they need to go home is, "I need a hug," or "I'm cold," Or I have to go to the bathroom, but I'm too embarrassed to say I have to go to the bathroom. So it's easier to say I need my mom or I want to go home. So we as family caregivers, as friends, we can offer what they might be needing. Would you like a hug? What was your mom wearing? Would you like a snack? I know they just brought some cookies out. Let's go get a cookie and we can talk about it. But again, in the midst of these activities and in the midst of these very high expectations for it's the most wonderful time of the year, there's many times lots of sadness and loss and grief. I want to speak to you as the family caregiver in that as well. You may be grieving the loss of your relationship with your loved one who's still living with dementia. Allow yourself to have those feelings. Write in a journal, cry, take a walk, connect with a friend. Whatever is meaningful to you, take some time to do because the losses that we feel in our heart are real. These are real experiences that we're having. Which leads into, before I get back to some more other activities, just want to talk real briefly about the idea of ritual and spirituality at this time of year. It may look different. Life may look different right now. You may not have moments of roses and sunshine all the time. But if there's something that you can do to contribute to the sense of the importance of the holiday, it's worth doing. So, for example, I light a lot of candles this time of year. Candles to me are warm, they smell nice, they give a really, really soft glow. So, I have a lot of candles around my house. That's something that I do. The other thing is when we talk about rituals, maybe that's prayers, church services, maybe it's some sort of other religious expression. Just because life looks differently doesn't mean it has to be over. Meaning, if it has always been important for you and your family to visit a church service or a temple, whatever it is at this time of year, maybe you can ask someone to save you a seat by the door so that you can come in right when the service starts, sit right at the back, and then you can leave when you need to leave. So that's something to think about. It helps other people to feel like they're contributing, doing something to help as well. Ask people to come to you or to your home or to wherever your loved one lives, whether that's to bring communion, whether that's to pray with them, to do a religious reading or a scripture reading, to sing a song. Ask people to come to your home if you're not able to get out for those things that are important to you. The other thing is, again, this idea of moments of joy, moments of connection, not necessarily whole days of connection, but moments of joy. So when we think about some other ideas, think about things with flowers, even silk flowers. Think about things with music, lots of holiday music this time of year. Use music during times of transition, use music during times of when you want moments of joy, moments of connection, whatever it might be. There's all kinds of opportunities to connect. So I want to just kind of do a summary of what we've talked about so far. As you're planning holiday activities, be aware of safety issues. We started out by talking about that at the beginning. Your loved one may not be aware that the oven is still on or that the stove top is on. We have to be on the lookout for safety issues. Be aware of cords and extension cords on the floor that we may see fine. We step over, we're lighting the tree, we're putting lights out, whatever it might be. but just be aware of safety issues. Be aware of flexibility. Be aware of, yes, absolutely, have a plan A, have a plan B, have a plan C. Be willing to go back to plan A. All kinds of things like that are good to think about. Just know that you can try anything. If it's not going well, adjust it. Just tweak it a little bit. And then finally, reality. Think about that horizontal line. We cannot change reality. This is a hard and fast line. This is the way it is. But we can change our level of expectation. If you're feeling really, really frustrated about a situation or an experience, just pause for a moment and ask yourself, where is my level of expectation? Am I feeling really, really more frustrated right now because my expectation is way up here that things are going to go great? We're going to have a happy holiday, darn it. We're going to do everything, maybe lower your expectations so it's closer to reality so that you have a little bit less frustration. When it comes to activity planning, be willing to try anything. I'm sure you have hundreds of ideas yourself, of ideas that have worked for activities in the past. Tweak them, try them, come at them from a different time or a different approach. And then finally, for you yourself as the caregiver, give yourself the gift of support. Whatever that means, whatever that looks like. We have caregiver support groups at Alzheimer's Resource of Alaska. You can check out our website, www.alzalaska.org. Or call us 907-561-3313. But it's important to acknowledge the feelings that you're having during this time of year. The songs may say it's the most wonderful time of year, but there still may be feelings of sadness or loss or regret, confusion, whatever it might be. Tell yourself it's okay to have those feelings and do what you can to take care of yourself in the process. I hope that this information has been helpful to all of you. Thank you so much for watching, for tuning in. Please reach out if we can be of any assistance to you. And remember just to do what you can for yourself and your loved one during this holiday time. Thank you again. Take good care, and we'll connect soon. Bye-bye.